Hello everyone. We have today with us a child prodigy, Vinisha Umashankar. She's a 14-year-old student from Tamil Nadu, and lately she has been talk of the town for her energy saving ideas. She has received a lot of awards, a lot of recognition, and she is an inspiration to us and everyone around her, I'm sure. Hello, Vinisha. How are you?
Hello, I'm doing great.
Yeah. Is it okay that we talk to you for some time in your busy schedule?
Yeah, it's definitely okay.
So, Vinisha, why don't you tell us what did you do recently that we have had the need to connect with you today?
Well, the most recent thing that I've done is the solar ironing cart. And the solar ironing cart is basically an innovation that eliminates the usage of charcoal for ironing clothes. Because I noticed that charcoal causes a lot of problems, from pollution to deforestation. And these problems directly affect climate change. So I decided, why not use the sunlight that India gets every summer and almost 300 days in a year and convert that sunlight into energy to power the ironing carts across the country. So that's how I came up with this idea, and this idea has been gaining a lot of recognition recently.
Yeah. Nimisha, I would like to tell you that I have been working with an organization where my manager happens to be also the plant head of the industry where I work. And literally, like 2 weeks ago, he sent me a video which also you also shared on your LinkedIn profile. I just saw today, and where all this idea about how you came up with this particular idea and what recognition it has received is highlighted. And then very recently I was asked to interview you. So trust me when I say this, it's all over the place and we are all inspired by it. But as it turns out, like such ideas come to an innovative mind. So would you like to share if you have also thought of some minor innovations before in past?
Sure. Actually, to be honest, this was the first idea that I came up with, but things weren't easy for me when I came up with the solar ironing cart because it was a huge step to take.
Mm-hmm.
But after the solar ironing cart, I did create multiple innovations for the underprivileged people, but I can't reveal much about them because they are under patent. So once the innovations are patented, I would like to reveal a lot about them.
Oh, wow. Okay. So I see that you are moving towards social innovation, as how we call it.
Yes.
And so what inspires you to get into this, and what is your key message for the people who are either aspiring to be into the innovation sector or who do not know where to begin?
Okay, the things that inspired me. Well, there was an incident in my street, and an ironing man was using charcoal to iron his clothes. This is an everyday incident, but for some reason, I only acknowledged it when I was coming home from school. I think I was 12 years old when it happened,
Okay.
and I noticed he was using charcoal every day. So he would use it, then he would cool it out and throw it in the garbage. So garbage in Tiruvannamalai usually ends up in a landfill, and that landfill is huge. It's in the middle of the town and it's huge and it smells really bad, polluting all the air around it. And almost you can spot it, there's charcoal on the landfill. So it pollutes the land, air, and water, and charcoal's production process itself causes deforestation. So both of these problems are prominent across the world, and charcoal is only increasing it. So this problem and incident inspired me to create the solar ironing cart. But I got interested in science itself when I was really young, only 5 years old. My parents actually got me a space encyclopedia for my birthday when on my fifth birthday, and I really liked the book and I was fascinated by space and science. At one point, I actually wanted to become an astronaut, but then I got hooked into physics and I got really interested in quantum theories and Schrodinger's cat. All those theories were really interesting to me, and I soon figured out like I can put my knowledge into actual use to solve this problem. So with the problem and with knowledge, I figured out the solar ironing cart is the best solution for eliminating charcoal.
Well, Vinisha, that is perfect. And as you might already know, there is another renowned scientist whom we know by the name of Newton, who noticed an apple falling, and that's how we know gravity. So that is great that you related that incident with the theory which you had and tried to implement something which was already in front of us, but somehow we never acknowledged it and changed it. So this brings me to my next question: that what is your advice to the kids around you, also actually anyone around you, even the elders, about this concept of association? You said you are now interested into quantum physics, which has again a number of implementations, and all of us go through this
Yes.
day-to-day curriculum. But then again, a very less amount of people think about how to implement it, which is the concept of association. What is your advice to the people? What brings you to these imaginations?
Well, this is a really interesting question and one I can actually go in depth with.
Mhm.
I really like to mention my parents here, and when I was really young, they taught me a lot of things, like not from books. One thing they told me many times is that age doesn't matter. So when I was really young, they would teach me simple concepts like countries on the map. And one thing my mother used to do to me is when we were walking down the streets, she would show me the door numbers and she would ask me to add them up. So those things helped me in mental math. So that helped me a lot. And then when she would show me something like a door, these all happened when I was really young, like 3 to 4 years old. She would show me a door and like, where do you see that pattern in other places? And then I would recognize like this wood pattern is there in a tree. So I would associate that a door is made of wood and wood comes from a tree. So this chain just developed for me when I was really little. My parents tell me now that when you are really young, you make connections really quickly in your brain. So the development of the brain occurs when you're little, and children can learn any skill when they are young, which is why you might notice that many children who are prodigies actually get noticed when they are 3 to 4 years old because they can easily grasp concepts. This is more of a tip to the parents because the children really don't know what they're doing, but parents should really teach the skill of associating many things together when the children are really young. That will help them understand concepts out of the box as they grow older.
Right, right. I totally happen to agree, and great that you brought it up. Basically, what it is, that it is the concept of critical, crystallized thinking and fluid thinking. And crystallized is more kind of that education we learn throughout. And what happens in our society is that everybody, and by that I mean large amount of parents, are waiting for their kids to go to school and learn all this crystallized amount of education. But there is a lot we can do at the fluid part, where the mind is actually developing. And as you said, so your mom told you about the door numbers, and which was the analytic development of your of your IQ and other things, pattern and all that. Lot of, I can so much relate to this, especially in our society. Lot of girls specifically won't be able to do analytical questions as good as what a guy can do, because he is put into that space where he gets exposure. And congratulations to your mom, to you, which is great.
Thank you.
And it's a great tip for the parents. It's high time that we start talking to kids as if they were one of us, and that's the only thing which can help, which is great. That is so cool. Vinisha, are there any other areas which you think you can tap into with this concept of innovation? One is renewable energy. Uh, are there any other things you are looking at?
Well, I've been focusing on renewable energy. That is one sector of my innovation. As
Mhm,
I mentioned earlier, I was also developing projects that will help underprivileged people.
mhm,
The aim of those innovations and products are mostly affordability, because most of the products, like even mosquito bats, are really expensive nowadays, and it's quite expensive for underprivileged people from poor societies to actually buy those and protect themselves from mosquitoes. So, innovating something that will be more affordable for them is one of my aims. So I'm working on products that will help underprivileged people. And in the light of COVID-19, I'm also trying to develop a few devices that will help curb the spread of COVID-19, because many people know that it spreads through air, but not many people recognize that it spreads through touch as well. So I'm working on a few touchless devices as well.
Wow, that is amazing. And one thing I keep noticing is that you just now yourself talked about how these things which you are trying to do are frugal. They will cost less, and a lot of things which you are talking about are so much like day to day. They are so much in need, and that brings me to the next point, which is empathy. Also, the solar cart thing, which is like almost, we see so many people doing it on streets in India, and that's the need. So, Vinisha, how do you, when you start imagining and when you start creating, innovating, there's no limit. But how do you come back and zero to the point that it has to be frugal, and at the same time it has to be the need? And how do you combine, how do you stay grounded to that empathy part? Is it difficult for you to do that?
Well, it's kind of difficult, of course, because as an innovator, you want to add as many things in an innovation as possible to make it more like high technology and stuff like that. But the more components you add in a product, the higher its cost becomes. So what I do is that I just work on an already existing product, and using concepts I already know, I like to make it as simple as I can. Like, even if it is just using a sheet of paper, I try to make it as simple as possible and remove all sorts of extra components from it, like only focusing on the necessity. Like, you can take a pen drive, for example. Now, in a pen drive, its main necessity is to store information. Adding a keychain and a flashlight, these are all additional components which will add to the final cost of the product. So removing all those extra details and just narrowing it down to one main necessity will keep the affordability under check, and that's the process I follow for the affordable sector of my innovations.
That is a very good. I mean, I keep saying this. One of my very first mentors told me that, the most complex thing to do is to define everything in the most simplest way. So the people who are able to do that are the most intelligent people, and I clearly see how that is crazy. Also, Vinisha, one of the things which I noticed in also the video you saw, and while I'm talking to you live today, is that you are not only a good innovator, but you know how to communicate what you innovated. And that's like very crucial part of placing yourself into the world and you know uh, just having and leveraging all your skills at once. So, is it first of all crucial to have that confidence and communication skill? And what is your methodology? What is your suggestions to the young aspirants around you?
So, for the first question, is it crucial? Well, I would definitely say yes. Communication on your part is like very important if you're going to express your idea to someone else, because that's the only way you can make another person understand what you're trying to say. Supposedly, your communication is lacking somewhere in language or confidence or even charisma, the other person will not quite understand what you're trying to say. So, if you're going to do a presentation, for example, then you should keep like when I do my presentations, I kind of time the slides. So when I'm talking about a slide, I make sure that I don't read off the slide because that's just boring and it will not make other people interested in it. So it's easier if you just speak in a natural flow. That's the first major thing that many people do is try to memorize a script and then just talk. In my opinion, it just doesn't work. And I'm personally not good at memorizing scripts and talking. I do better with bullet points and just remember what I have to say and say it in my own words. And also, people should realize that the audience is not scary. They're probably scared of who's going to come and talk, and that they would probably be stuck in a place
Yeah,
where the speaker themselves doesn't know what to say.
yeah.
So just keep that in mind and you'll become confident on your own. So I just keep those 2 points. Don't memorize a script and just remember that the audience is not scary.
That is crazy. You really have like simple ways of figuring out stuff. This is crazy. I need to take advice even offline, I think. This is amazing. Vinisha, also, I realized that you are at a crucial stage academically, because these are the years which are going to count, and based upon the education system we have, which are going to flaw, if at all. So balance is must. You really can't choose either, right? Balance is must, and clearly you are doing it amazing. Like you are actually balancing everything. And we were having a conversation in the morning. You were already on top of your assignments, on top of your interviews, and that's just crazy. So what are your day-to-day habits which keep you sorted, and what is it that you are trying, even if you maybe you want to work on more?
One thing that I would say as a general piece of advice is never ever create a timetable. For me, that never worked. I made this mistake when I was young. Around 10 years old, I started creating timetables for my everyday uh, schedule or routine, and I would just plain get stressed out if things did not go as planned. Like if I did not have breakfast at 8 o'clock, then I would get stressed out. Like I need to have everything at the time. So as I grew up, like around 12 to 13 years old, it dawned on me that timetables are not only helping me out properly, but they're just getting me stressed, and my family also becomes stressed because of the hectic time and how rigid it is. So if anyone wants to create a routine, then I would recommend creating a to-do list instead, because it's easier if you have 5 to 6 things on the list and you can do it at any time of the day as long as you finish it before the day ends.
Yeah.
So just create like two major things. For me, it's almost all the time assignments, and then I usually have to prepare a few presentations. So these two are always on my to-do list. I just check them off every day, and then I erase them the next morning, and again I check them off at night. So you might have a few other works like running to the store. I usually go with my grandparents and help them bring the groceries back. So I have to sort all of these out on a list, and usually then your day goes fine, but never create a timetable. That just does not work.
Well, I agree, and I have to create a lot of timetables because of the profession I am in, and I agree. I am almost all the time stressed, and it's only natural that you are not going to be able to do 8 things in a day. But if you have a
Yes.
timetable, you will have to pressure yourself to do 8 things. I totally agree, and I am a victim of that, so I can vouch for that.
Especially for me, I already do have a timetable for school online classes.
Right.
And if I create another timetable on top of that, then things are just not going to work out for me.
True, true. You are truly an entrepreneur by heart. Couldn't relate more. This is just so relatable. We are speaking for the first time, but it's a lot
Yes.
relatable. Yeah. Vinisha, let us just talk about some of your great achievements and how did you feel about them? Because sometimes what happens is um, entrepreneurship can seem fancy to a lot of people because of the digital media we live in today. Recognition and visibility is easy. So a lot of people think that anybody can do it, and they do not realize the hard work it takes, also the commitment it takes, which we already talked about. But one of the major things which can be motivation to a lot of people are those defining moments which you are going to feel in your journey if you have started your journey. And I would like to know, we can already see you got the Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Ignite Award for the year 2019, which is so great. And we already saw the video on that. How did you feel when you first time came to know that you're receiving it?
Well, at the first time it was on October 15, 2019. For
Okay.
me, it was almost like a birthday gift because my birthday is on October 11th and the results came out on 15th. So it was like a birthday gift to me that I had been selected to go to Gujarat and receive the award from the former president Pranab Mukherjee. One thing I really like, uh, apart from the competitions, I love to travel, though I don't get to do it that often. Some people find the airport annoying. I find it fascinating most of
Yeah.
the time. I love going to the airport and I love going to the train stations, literally traveling anywhere, even if it's just in a car or bike. To me, traveling isn't hectic, it's enjoyable.
Yeah.
So I was happy to know that I was going to Gujarat in a flight and I was going to meet other children who had also been shortlisted for the award. And you can see in the picture that it's the prototype of the solar ironing cut. Actually, when I was creating the ironing cut, I thought that they were going to create like a small model like we do for school projects because I didn't know that they would actually build the solar ironing cut. When I went and saw that they had built a full scale ironing cut, I couldn't believe my eyes that It was actually functioning ironing cut with a cycle that I could ride and a charger in which I could charge my father's phone. So that was a really great experience, like once in a lifetime opportunity.
This is crazy. This is exactly what I was coming to, and the way you're defining it, and the way you felt, and all those things, they just make you so happy that you feel all the hard work, all the commitment, all the everything is just worth it, and that is exactly
Yes.
why you should be pursuing it. That is just amazing. And I happen to be from Gujarat. Did you like Gujarat when you went there?
I loved Gujarat. I actually been there twice.
Mhm.
Actually, I went to Gujarat before the NIF. The first time I went to Gujarat was when I was 12 years old. In this picture, I'm 13. I
Okay.
went there for a presentation in the physical research laboratory. I actually did the presentation to many scientists from ISRO and PhD students. It was a presentation about how to build a sustainable home on a different planet. So I chose Mars and I did a presentation on how I would build a home over there and how I would sustain there with food and water and uh, all of that scientific stuff that I had to do the presentation about. And it was really fun. I met a lot of other children who also did many presentations. Their presentations were really good. It was nice to meet children who are also interested in the same field that I am interested in. I won the special mention award and rupees 2000 for my presentation. I also met Dr. Shivan sir, the chairman of ISRO currently, and it
Uh,
was really nice meeting all those people and children. I also made a few friends, and I would say that Gujarat itself, it's really nice. I actually when we they sent a bus for us and
mhm,
I traveled in the bus
mhm,
along with my other uh, competitors who were with me,
mhm.
and I must mention that the roads are really clean. I've never seen roads like those before. Yes,
Yeah.
and I also went to the airport. There's a statue of unity and the Make in India lion symbol
Mhm.
and many exhibits of Gandhi and his home. So it was really enjoyable.
Well, I'm glad. Not that I have done any of it, but I just feel proud to be from that state. And yes, it is very enthusiastic. Every time you visit that state, it's just you feel pumped up. You feel like doing things. It's amazing. I totally agree. Vinisha, before we come to the final questions, would you like to do a rapid fire?
Okay, sure.
Okay. So this rapid fire is little bit of a fun rapid fire for our audience to know, to get to know the fun side of you. And we will anyways continue to look at the scientist side of you in future. So are you ready? You have to be as fast as possible.
Sure. I'm ready.
Okay, great. What is your favorite food item?
Palak paneer.
Oh, wow, great. Okay. I am glad it is nothing South Indian. Okay. So, what is your favorite? You said you like to travel. Would you rather travel to mountains or rivers?
Mountains.
Okay, great. You talked about renewable energy, etc. Would you rather do innovation for money, or would you rather do innovation for solving a need?
Solving a need.
Okay. What is your favorite color?
Turquoise.
Oh, wow, that's very unique. Okay. Would you like to eat chocolate or ice cream or none? You can select none.
Ice cream.
Oh, yeah. Great. Okay, then what is your favorite flavor of ice cream?
Strawberry.
Okay. Would you rather listen to a song or would you rather read a book?
This is hard, but listen to a song.
Oh, okay. Okay. Would you like to do both together?
Yes, I often do that when I'm studying. Like, I just put on some music in the background and I study.
Yeah. Would you rather spend a day with your friends or would you rather spend a day with your parents?
Um, Friends,
Okay. Okay, great.
because I almost
Okay, great.
spend every day with my parents,
Yes,
so
and
I would
given,
say a day with my friends.
yeah, okay. And I don't know, would you rather do an assignment or give an interview?
Uh, Give an interview.
Great. So that means we are having fun, and I'm glad. Okay, so Vinisha, there are last two questions which I would want to ask you, and which are very important because you have started your journey as in this sector. The first question is that do you plan to, because also as I mentioned, you're in your crucial years, do you plan to continue it after your academics, like after 12th or as your full-time career?
Definitely. Definitely, I will always continue to innovate. Though I might choose specific fields, my innovation will stay the same, and though I will continue a solo career, I would also like to team up with other students who are interested, and I've always wanted to work with a team. To me, it seems like a wonderful way to make new friends who are also interested in the same field as you. So, when I go to college, I would like to team up with a few students and see how science presentations and science projects work as a group. So, until then, I might do it on my own, but once I go to college, I would like to see how teamwork actually is.
So you are interested in collaboration, which is amazing, which is one of the key things you would need as in how you go ahead, and you're already interested. Uh, and Nimisha, my final question to you is about the low points. And as I can already relate, if you are working on some of the patents, and for any other person, it could be something else. Any task in your hand, you are maybe going to fail, or you are going to face a setback. And in that case, what really defines is how passionate you are about it, how badly or how just how much do you want it. And sometimes even after wanting it so much, a setback can actually demotivate you. And in those situations, if at all you have ever faced them, what do you do and what is your suggestion to our audience?
Well, I have definitely faced such situations. It's hard to accept that you're facing it when you are actually going through it, because the only person who will understand what you're going through is only you. You could tell it to your parents or your friends, but it's unlikely they'll completely understand what you're going through. So the best thing to do is calm down for a second and actually, because when you're thinking in stress or anger, you're usually going to think of giving up exactly on the spot. So you give yourself a minute or two to actually think of what you're doing, because stress and anger can blind you for a long time. So if you are actually stressed, then stop what you're doing for that day and then start tomorrow. You're not going to lose anything by waiting for a few hours. You're probably going to sleep and you're going to get up in the morning, and then you're going to realize that it's no use giving up because you started it and you like what you're doing. Sometimes it can be hard, but giving up is not the option. You just have to work towards achieving it. Because once you do achieve what you're working towards, it's all going to be worth it and it'll be paid off.
That is so true. I am slowly trying to figure out that how you can be my full-time counselor. This is amazing. That is true. And I find myself often in these situations. There are numerous ways I try to handle it. But yes, this one is the most effective one. Sometimes you just do it out of helplessness, but this one is more effective.
Sometimes you can just turn on a playlist and listen to music.
Yeah.
It usually changes your mood a lot.
Mood, yes,
It
music
helps
has that
me.
power. Yeah, yeah, I completely agree. Yes, that is what is my go-to option, music. Yes, and that does bring us to the end of this interview. But in that hierarchy, I really want to say thank you to a couple of people. Firstly, thank you to your parents, because I really see this gap, and I don't know how to communicate it. I don't know rather how to articulate it. I do not know if I have the power to bring that change in the society. But this is a life example of how things would turn out if you start treating kids as and of your age with changing times. Everything is just a Google away, and anybody can do anything, and I truly believe in that. And thanks to both your parents, it's very clear they are motivating you. They are investing not only money or not only time, but effort and dedication and involvement, and which is rare, and the result of which is you. I am so happy that you realize it. You're grounded enough to keep that in count and talk about it, which is great, which is a key message to everybody of your age who will be our audience. Second is thanks to you for accepting the conversation request. I genuinely
Thank
meet
you.
a lot of people who are in this space or trying to come in this space, or who have just made it till a limit which I cannot imagine. And what just shocks me is that it is still dominant by a lot of men, and I see very little or no amount of girls who um, whom I can relate to, and that too at such a young age, which is just amazing. Everything you said, I was like, yeah, yeah, this is what I thought. This is what I have sheer interest in physics, music, traveling. That's what I just want to do all my life. This is amazing. And a
One
third,
thing I would like to say to, as you've asked for my tips in many questions, but I didn't get a chance to answer it,
yeah,
I'll just say it now that for all the young children or students like me who are watching this, believe in yourself. What other people think of you is completely irrelevant because they will not understand how important an idea is to you as much as you understand it. In the initial stages, people are going to criticize you. I faced it as well, but it's going to get better in the future because once people realize the intensity and the effect that your idea can bring in the world and the society, they'll instantly regret it and they'll probably come back to appreciate you anyway. So just learn knowledge around your passion. It doesn't need to be only innovation, it can be anything. Because I'm passionate about many things like music, art, literature, it could be anything that you like. Just learn knowledge around it and develop your own unique set of skills. Things will work out in the end, even though they don't seem like that in the start. So don't be afraid of failure and don't give up.
that is, yeah, that is just, you have just summed, you have just, just concluded the entire session. That is so true. I agree to every part of it. And I just hope that we can continue interacting. And I just hope I see more of
Definitely.
you. This, I am literally going to personally follow your career. I'm very much interested, and I wish you all the
Thank you.
best, all the luck. Reach out for anything you think is relevant, and we can help you with that. And all the best. We are just truly inspired by everything you're doing, and I just hope we can
Thank
stay in
you.
touch.